Aloha! Welcome to Sacred TEK 2021-2077. This is our update of our Minecraft version of the game board. I'm really pleased with how it's coming along. So here we have a sunrise. We're in our little rainbow Candy Rock Mountain territory, also known as Hello Worlds or the Seven Sisters world. So it's adapted directly from the Pleiades, or Seven Sisters constellation, and that is a star cluster. It's not a constellation, it's a star cluster. You can Google the difference, that's something we're going to talk about. So, check this out. We have 8 different points, well 9 different points because we have a 3.5 over there. But at point number 2, 4, 6, and 8 are our equinoxes and solstices. So this is going to be where we begin. Is at number 1, of course. We will come out, we emerge from the heart, going below and to the left. And then we find our first set of instructions at seat number 1. And this, I'm not going to go into all the detail of what all this means, but this is a map of our whole world here. And it's going to continue to get more and more intricate. These are different video game colleges that we have. So here's an Among Us college, Fortnite college. We actually have Dungeons and Dragons, Magic even a Star Wars college. Let's see if I can find it up. Magic the Gathering, Pokemon, Red and Blue. These are really some exciting things. So I'll just show you this. And so our board game, as we go around here, these different colleges are just kind of available, and they will be cultivated by different crews that utilize them, that play those games. Those colleges will grow their knowledges and their wealth. They're also meant to serve as an example of what you can use as your focus. So for example, we have our Legend of Zelda college. And this originally has been rolled out by Agile, the Academy for the Implementation of Experiences, as a mechanism to promote study skills. So folks can have a lot easier time studying if they have something that they want to study, that they enjoy studying. So we say, let's start with developing study skills and learning to joyfully study by studying things that bring us joy. And then through that, we can then start to study anything and find joy in studying anything. So these are just some of our colleges to begin with. And this is all really intricate stuff inside it too. Like it's not, there's actually, see we have, we're just beginning to decorate it. But there's a really cool cave and cavern, chasm system for this whole world. And so these are some of those, and each of these different areas has a different focus, and those will expand. But we're just starting with the game board here, and we'll circulate 56 times around. We are going to circulate 56 times around this game board because we're doing 56 years, right? So from 2021 to 2077. And in order to do that in the period of March 12th to, there's a heart, left. So we're going March 12th to October 22nd. All players must go through 56 times this whole game board. So during that time, each day in real life is going to equal a whole season. So the wheel of time here in this Minecraft world, or in our Sacred TEK game world, is equal to a whole equinox to solstice, as ours is a day to the day. So I'm immediately going to go from the beginning to then the spring equinox on 2. And then the next turn, the very next day, I'm going to go all the way. I have to pass through all these phases and play until seat 4. That is the summer solstice, or around Juneteenth. And then the next day, I'm going to play all the way to 6, which is going to take me to the fall equinox. And then the next day, we're going to do our simulation all the way to 8 and pass through all the steps along the way, which is going to bring us to the winter solstice. And at the winter solstice, we see that we'll actually have our Hawaii Star Visitor Sanctuary time. And this is a very awesome, special thing where we are actually sharing these sports and technologies that we create at our intergalactic kitchen. So at the end of this first year of the real program in 2021, when we hit that solstice, December 21st, 2021, we're going to have a celebration in our video game version of the Hawaii Star Visitor Sanctuary, which is a real thing, which is super special. The website's down for some reason right now, but I do have the original document. This is from HawaiiStarVisitorSanctuary.org. This is a declaration for a Hawaii Star Visitor Sanctuary. I'm just going to read it because it speaks volumes to itself. That's going to make this update a little extra long, but I hope you find this as fascinating and inspiring as I do. So, the Declaration for a Hawaii Star Visitor Sanctuary. In recognition that on March 13, 1999, Kanaka Maoli, aka Native Hawaiian/Hawaiian people, reinstated the provisional offices of the former government of the Kingdom of Hawaii. This action was implemented in accordance to international law principles and protocols and Hawaiian Kingdom laws. On November 6, 1999, an island-wide election plebiscite was conducted to elect individuals to serve in the Hawaiian Kingdom legislature that consists of 24 seats in the House of Nobles and 24 seats in the House of Representatives. These elected officials were no longer self-proclaimed, but elected to office. Recognizing that these newly elected officials immediately called for a constitutional convention to exercise their authority to create and establish laws. On March 29, 2000, the amended Constitution of Hawaii 2000 was enacted. Since then, our government has legislated laws to reestablish the proper departments to serve as the proper authority for this nation and to assist the government operations and functions of the lawful Hawaiian government. In recognition that on August 31st, 2003, the reinstated Hawaiian Kingdom publicly published its formal Notice of Initiating the Transition of Political Authority and Jurisdiction from the United States, recognizing that the existing State of Hawaii Law, Act 195, signed by Governor Abercrombie in July 2011, that states, quote, "The Native Hawaiian people are hereby recognized as the only indigenous Aboriginal Kanaka Maoli people of Hawaii," end quote. This state law acknowledges the United Nations Declaration of the Rights of Indigenous People, particularly Article 3, quote, "Indigenous peoples have the right to self-determination. By virtue of that right, they freely determine their political status and freely pursue their economic, social, and cultural development," end quote. In recognition that on May 16, 1854, His Majesty King Kamehameha III formally proclaimed the Hawaiian Kingdom as a neutral state which formally participated in the development of the international law of neutrality that was negotiated among the family of nations. Recognizing that Hawaiian tradition recognizes Na Hui Hui a Makali'i, the constellation of Pleiades/Seven Sisters, as the place from which, according to legend, the first Hawaiian people came to Earth. In recognition that newly created lava flow land at Kalapana, Kaimu on Mokuokeawe, falls under the sovereignty and jurisdiction of the lawful Hawaii government, we, the undersigned representatives, do solemnly declare the creation of a Hawaii Star Visitor, benevolent extraterrestrial life form, sanctuary, where 1. Star visitors are invited to fly over the land at a location to be designated and consecrated as the Hawaii Star Visitor Sanctuary. 2. Star visitors are invited to meet with representatives of the Hawaiian government to formally establish diplomatic relations between star visitors and Hawaiian nationals in accord with principles of neutrality. Star visitors, after the establishment of diplomatic relations with the Hawaiian government, are invited to meet with private citizens interested in establishing cultural, education, and scientific relations with the visitors. 4. Star visitor technologies can be safely demonstrated, understood, and developed for the benefit of all humanity, marine, and animal life and planet Earth. Authorized representatives of the lawful Hawaiian government, May 28, 2014, on Mokuokeawe. Noble Samuel Galeiki, Senior, Noble Kale England, Noble Samuel Keli'iho Omalu, Representative Michael Weeks. So that's the Hawaii Star Visitor Sanctuary Declaration. There's also a protocol that was published along with this. And on that note, I want to end re-emphasizing this aspect of Aloha Aina, or AI as Aina. That is, this is a method for avoiding the war between robots and humans that takes place in the Animatrix Second Renaissance, which I highly recommend you watch if you're going to be playing this wonderful game with us, because having that knowledge and lore will be helpful. Both watch this, okay? I'll post the links in the description below, and then also have a read of this, Making King with the Machines, okay? Especially paying attention to this concept of AI as Aina, okay? It might be very helpful, that's all I'll say, in winning the game we're playing. Oh, I lost the game. Where did I win the game? 10 points if you know it. And then finally, I also highly recommend checking out this Indigenous Protocol and Artificial Intelligence Working Group position paper that's up at indigenous-ai.net. We're going to be working closely with this document as we proceed toward the intergalactic pitch event that happens every solstice beginning in the year 2021, every winter solstice beginning this year at this little 8-point here, and that always makes our Beam Me Up Scotty light speed travel back toward and beyond. So, I hope you all enjoyed this update. Aloha.